Right now, one of the largest dams ever built by humanity is holding back a wall of water so massive, engineers are running safety checks by the hour. This is not a drill. This is the Three Gorges Dam, and it just faced its second major flood peak of 2026. At 8 in the morning, water came pouring into the reservoir at 61,000 cubic meters per second. Only 33,000 cubic meters per second was let out. That means almost half of everything rushing in stayed trapped behind the dam, pushing water levels more than 15 meters above the official flood limit. 3 floodgates opened to release pressure. Officials say every parameter of the dam remains at, quote, safety levels. But read between the lines here. This is the second flood peak in just days. The first hit on July 26th. This one followed almost immediately after. And a new round of flooding is already forecast to arrive around July 28th. China's Ministry of Water Resources has kept its emergency response at the second highest level nationwide, personally overseeing reservoirs across the upper and middle Yangtze to try to prevent disaster. The Minister of Water Resources himself admitted the reservoir is expecting continuous heavy water flows, and that officials have to carefully balance the safety of the dam against the strength of the dikes downstream. Here's the part that should concern anyone watching global supply chains and markets. As of July 26th, the middle and lower Yangtze River has stayed above alarming water levels for 12 consecutive days straight. 12 days. Some sections are still rising. And it's not just the Yangtze. Lake Taihu, China's second-largest freshwater lake, just raised its flood emergency status to level 1, the highest possible level in the entire response system. Then something happened that almost never happens. After staying silent on the flooding for over a month, Xi Jinping finally spoke publicly. He called the flood prevention situation, in his own words, grim. State media quoted him directly. When the head of the Chinese Communist Party breaks a month of silence to call a disaster grim, that is a signal. Xi acknowledged that water levels across the Yangtze, the Huaihe River, Dongting Lake, Poyang Lake, and Lake Tai have all pushed past the warning line. He named 7 provinces facing severe flooding: Chongqing, Jiangxi, Anhui, Hubei, Hunan, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang. Casualties, property losses, and he called for urgent efforts to help the poorest families affected, so they don't fall back into poverty because of these disasters. Meanwhile, in Hunan province alone, more than 956,000 people have already been affected. Hundreds of homes destroyed. Nearly 80,000 hectares of farmland wiped out by rain that started back on June 28th and simply never let up. In the city of Yueyang, one of the hardest-hit areas, 261 millimeters of rain fell in just 24 hours. That is the highest rainfall recorded there since the city started keeping weather records in 1952. Over 70 years of data, and this week broke the record. In Changde, armed police piled over 5,000 sandbags overnight and dug more than 10 emergency drainage channels after levees along a local river started leaking. That is not routine flood response. That is a race against collapse. And China just renewed its orange alert, the second highest warning level, for more rainstorms. Multiple provinces have escalated their flood responses as more downpours swell already overflowing rivers and trigger landslides across the south.